All right, so I figured I'd keep y'all up to date on what's going on with this nonsensical bullshit fucking impeachment hearing that's going on. All right, so this is from NBC News, CIA run PSYOP. The moment that shocked the room during Taylor's Ukraine testimony. Former acting ambassador described a meeting that connected Trump with the withholding of U.S. aid. One stunning moment during a top diplomat's testimony this week may prove pivotal to the congressional impeachment hearing and even led to gasp in the room, according to one source who was present. And it's kind of amazing because I got another story after this that legitimately, it's amazing how like they treat one like this yellow journalism is fucking nonsense. It occurred when William Taylor, the lead U.S. envoy to Ukraine, described the video conference call in July with officials from of the White House Office of Management and Budget. Even Republicans who were present expressed concern, the source said, because the call made a direct link between President Donald Trump and the withholding of military aid to Ukraine for political purposes. The OMB official, who was not named by Taylor during his appearance on Tuesday before the White House Intelligence Committee, informed those on call that there was a hold on U.S. military aid. Well, that OMB official didn't know why the funds are being frozen. A second OMB aide, who was not on camera, said the directive had come from the president to the chief of staff to OMB. According to Taylor, the call occurred 1 week before Trump's discussion with Ukraine President Volodymyr Zelensky. One member of Congress who was in the room, Representative Debbie Wasserman Schultz. Of course. So the moment made the connection clear between the withholding of aid and Trump's demand that Ukraine conduct an investigation that could implicate his political opponent for former Vice President Joe Biden. He drew a very direct line in the series of events he described as being President Trump the decision to withhold funds and refuse a meeting with Zelensky. Wasserman Schultz said unless there was a public pronouncement by him in investigations of Burisma. Okay, here's the situation. All right, like the real shit is, as an American, all right, the left and the right are in agreement that there should be an investigation as to whether or not Joe Biden stood here and got his son a job that made $50,000 a fucking month because of the office that Joe Biden held. It's that simple, all right? And it ain't just here, it's China as well. I don't care whether or not it benefits Donald Trump. Y'all care whether or not it benefits Donald Trump. I don't really give a fuck, okay? The problem is that you stood here and turned the entire fucking government against the president that we all elected, that you're upset about because you want to continue to have the way things were going. We're never going to go back to how shit was. It's not going to happen. It physically can't happen. It economically can't happen. All right? Like, things are not going to go back to normal. Things will never be okay again. This country has decided that it needs a new path and that the way things were working isn't going to work anymore because we can't just coast. I know you baby boomers want an opportunity to go back to normalcy, but it's never going to happen again. Legit. Y'all need to understand where we are and what's going on at the moment. Last week, the acting chief of staff, Mick Mulvaney, acknowledged during a news conference that the aid was held up as part of a quid pro quo, although he later insisted his word has been misreported by the press. Well, it probably was. In a July phone call with Zelensky, Trump asked for a favor and then asked for help in investigating both the origins of the investigation into 2016 Russian election interference as well as the energy company tied to Hunter Biden. Taylor could be the linchpin of any impeachment case against Trump, and that sentiment was realized when he delivered his opening statement to the committee on Tuesday. The gravity of the moment and the realization of what is at stake in that the impeachment probe was palpable in the room, according to multiple sources who were in attendance. At one point, one prominent Republican member who would go nameless turned to his aide and said, "This isn't good," a person in the room said. Taylor's testimony was by far the most heavily attended of those who have appeared before the committee to date, and secure space in the basement of the U.S. Capitol was standing room only, filled with staff members and at least 20 lawmakers from 3 committees tasked with running the inquiry. The room fell to silent during Taylor's 45-minute opening statement in a steady yet confident tone, stopping just to take a few times to take a sip of water, according to one source in the room. you could hear a pin drop. Oh, this is going to be your new hero? Is that the situation? Typed on 15 pages, Taylor's opening statement outlined what he thought was crazy without withholding U.S. security aid until the Ukrainians help with the U.S. political campaign. You're not helping with a U.S. political campaign. Joe Biden wasn't going to win. All right? He's not going to win. And especially with this here. Okay? Legitimately. The guy got his cokehead son a job making $50,000 a month sitting on a board of an energy company that you were over here doing business with. The corruption and the bullshit that came before this, where you literally got a prosecutor fired. Okay? You stood here and you got a prosecutor fired in Ukraine because he was investigating the company that your son was working for. I really, really feel like you should really think about what you're saying here. All right? Legit, this is the dumbest shit ever. All right, so let's get to our next story. Okay, now. So, I found this here, right, which is pretty awesome. Okay, and I read through it a little bit. I apologize. Justice Department is said to open a criminal inquiry into its own Russia investigation. The move is likely to open the Attorney General to accusations that he's trying to deliver a political victory for President Trump. Oh, you have an investigation into something that is corruption, all right? And you go, oh, this is... this is absolute fucking bullshit, right? You have an investigation into something that absolutely is corruption. You go, oh man, this is nonsense. And then you have an investigation and somebody goes, hey, maybe we should check out this other corruption. And you go, oh, how dare you? This is a political move. This is the dumbest shit ever. For more than 2 years, President Trump has reportedly attacked the Russian investigation, portraying it as a hoax and illegal, even months after the special counsel closed it. Now, Mr. Trump's own Justice Department has opened a criminal investigation into how it all began. The Justice Department officials have shifted an administrative review of the Russian investigation, closely overseen by Attorney General William P. Barr, to a criminal inquiry, according to two people familiar with the matter. The move gives the prosecutor running it, John H. Durham, the power to subpoena for witness testimony and documents, to convene a grand jury, and to file criminal charges. The opening of the criminal investigation is likely to raise alarms that Mr. Trump is using the Justice Department to go after his perceived enemies. I'm so tired of you rich yuppies. I have had it up to my ears with you fucking elitist Brooklynite cocksuckers. Oh, my God. You do understand the rest of us want this fucking investigated. Like, yo, if you're using our government to stand here and go after elected officials for bullshit because you're upset about how the American people voted, you're pissed off that Michigan, Wisconsin, and Pennsylvania said, we're tired of losing jobs and losing ground. All right, and we want a change in how we're handling our business. We're sick of seeing California and New York determine our fucking policy. You have to stand here and let us have our fucking moment. That's why the Electoral College is there. All right, I know you don't like the Electoral College, all right, because it doesn't allow you people who live in one zip code to be able to choose who becomes president. But the rest of us are out here going, you know what, we make all the stuff and ship all the stuff and do all the stuff for you every day and create your fucking food and everything of this nature. You have to respect us as well. When we go, hey, we're hurting. And you go, oh, well, we'll just give you free money. And we go, we don't want free money. We would much like a long-term solution to what's going on. And you go, no, that's not going to happen. This is you're declaring war on the middle of the country. And we're going to come for you because we have all the guns because you've disarmed yourselves. You need to stop this shit. Mr. Trump has made clear that he sees the typical independent Justice Department as a tool to be wielded against his political enemies. That view factors into the impeachment investigation against him, as does his long obsession with the origins of the Russia inquiry. Who wrote this fucking garbage? Who the fuck? Katie Brenner and Adam Goldman. Of course. I bet you both of you have dual citizenships with a country in the Middle East. I bet you both do. Fucking shit-headed motherfuckers. Let's see here. Let's keep going down. I have no idea. The move also creates an unusual situation in which the Justice Department is conducting a criminal investigation into itself. which is probably not a bad thing. Mr. Barr's reliance on Mr. Durham, a widely respected and veteran prosecutor, has investigated the CIA torture and broken up mafia rings, could help insulate the Attorney General from accusations that he's doing the president's bidding and putting politics above justice. It is not clear what potential crime Mr. Durham is investigating, nor when the criminal investigation was prompted. A Justice Department spokesperson declined to comment. Mr. Trump is certain to see the criminal investigation as a vindication of the years he and his allies have spent trying to discredit the Russian investigation. In May, Mr. Trump told the Fox News host Sean Hannity that the FBI officials who opened the case, a counterintelligence investigation into whether his campaign conspired with Moscow election sabotage, had committed treason. We can never allow these treasonous acts to happen to another president, Mr. Trump said. He has called the FBI investigation one of the biggest political scandals in United States history. And he's not lying. Legit. He's not lying. On some real shit. It's fucking sad that legitimately, this is why I have a job. On some real shit. This is why I do this shit. Because you fucking people can't do your jobs. You can't just report the fucking news. We don't know a whole lot more about this investigation yet. And we don't know who they're looking at for criminal charges. But I'm glad somebody's being brought up for this bullshit. Because our justice system should not be political. Real shit. And it's become that. And that's fucking terrible. Either way it goes, whether it's, some Bible thumping cocksucker standing here telling you can't dance, or whether it's, some shitheaded leftist upset that communism isn't getting pushed in government. You can't have either one of these when it really comes down to it. But anyway, man, look, I'm gonna make another video. I'll upload this one and the other one here in a little bit. It's appreciated. Thank you for coming out. You know the situation. Peace.